pitching a tent in Birmingham. And they're rushing this whole military buildup announcement out before peace has any chance of ruining the party.
Big new investment of £6 billion over the next 5 years in factories like this, which allow us not just to produce the munitions that equip our forces for the future, but to create the jobs in every part of the UK. This is a message to Moscow as well. This is Britain standing behind making our armed forces stronger, but making our industrial base stronger. And this is part of our readiness to fight, if required, but the strength in which to deter those fights in the future.
Right. So this is all about rebuilding the industrial base. The UK's deindustrialization has been so thorough that its car industry just posted its worst production number since 1952. And, its energy-intensive sectors are curling up in a fetal position after 35 years of decline thanks to sky-high energy prices. So this is basically just industrial welfare to save their own economy, but with scarier branding. Everything's going just great, obviously. You can totally trust these guys because they sound super sane and level-headed. This guy especially.
You can't deter a nuclear-armed country without nuclear capability, and you can't deter battlefield nuclear weapons with strategic nuclear weapons. It simply doesn't add up. So I think that part of that declaration should have been for Britain to undertake to develop battlefield nuclear weapons. Now, I know how expensive that is, which could have been a deterrent against Russia, and or to help Ukraine develop its own nuclear weapons capability, having surrendered it with supposed guarantees from the West.
And now the Brits want to make nukes for Ukraine. The same Ukraine that, according to the Germans, managed to ruin the German tanks they were gifted and then somehow double ruin them by trying to fix them. The same folks who keep nosediving their precious few F-16s, yeah, sure, let's toss nukes into that mix. Sounds like a fantastic plan, says one very chill British colonel. Makes you wonder what kind of mystery mushrooms were on the hors d'oeuvre table at that event.
I wish that I was looming over the Kremlin right now and being able to reach down out of the sky and pluck Mr. Putin out and drop him into the river or something.
Seriously, what's stopping you, man? Go play Superman over the Kremlin. Beat standing next to your buddy, Captain Bad Idea. Colonel Bad Idea, who's advocating for nuclear proliferation, starting with Ukraine. Of course, this isn't the first time the Brits have thrown a spanner in the peace process. Back in 2022, Boris Johnson, when he was Prime Minister, reportedly told Ukraine not to take a peace deal in the early days of the war. The EU is also pivoting to a war economy funded by taxpayers to the tune of 800 billion euros. Meanwhile, French bakeries can't afford to bake baguettes with the chronically high price of energy. Maybe they should just switch to making subsidized bullets instead. Surprisingly, someone in Germany has actually started hitting the brakes on all this belligerent rhetoric.
From my point of view, it was clear from the very beginning that this war will most likely end at the negotiating table. Because one thing is already true, that a complete defeat in the sense of a capitulation of the nuclear-armed Russia could not be expected. In this respect, we have now made ourselves a little more honest. At the same time, Ukraine is successfully defending itself against Russia. Thus, there is every chance for Ukraine to emerge strongly from a strong negotiating position. It is important for us that Ukraine makes this decision and that it is not taken over its heads by others.
So that dose of realpolitik and diplomacy coming from the German foreign minister is really a stark contrast to German Chancellor Friedrich Merz's recent talk of why not let Ukraine hit literally anything in Russia with Western weapons, zero range limits. He had to walk that one back, though, probably after remembering that he's in a coalition with the Social Democrats, who are famously not into scenarios that could spontaneously launch World War III. At least Merz hasn't yet announced plans to personally ride a German Taurus missile Dr. Strangelove style into Moscow. Guess that means his British pal will have to find someone else to give him a ride over the Kremlin so he can loom over it and fulfill his own fantasy.